It's dark. You're alone. The blue lights flash in your rearview mirror and your stomach drops. Your hands start to shake. You pull onto the shoulder and your heart is pounding so hard. You can hear it in your ears. The officer walks up, shines a light in your face. And before you even catch your breath, he says, "I can search your car," right? You don't have anything to hide. What do you say? What should you do? Do you even know whether he needs a warrant right now, or whether he is just trying to get you to give up your rights? If you freeze, you lose. If you say the wrong thing, you might talk yourself into handcuffs. So let's fix that right now. Let me be clear about the bedrock principle. The Fourth Amendment says you have the right to be secure in your person, house, paper, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. But what does unreasonable actually mean? Here is the simplest analogy I know. Think of probable cause like seeing smoke and flames pouring out of a window. If you see that, it is reasonable to believe there is a fire inside. That is probable cause. Reasonable suspicion, on the other hand, is just smelling a faint wisp of something that might be smoke. It is a hunch that something could be wrong, but it is not enough to kick the door down. Cops need probable cause to get a warrant or to search your car without one. They need at least reasonable suspicion to detain you for more than a moment. Those are two different standards, and police count on the fact that you do not know the difference. Now, let's look at the tricks. One of the most common is the phantom odor. An officer pulls you over for a burned out tag light and immediately says, "I smell marijuana."
"Driver, license and registration, please."
"I smell marijuana in this vehicle." Here's the trick. Even in states where marijuana is partially legal, claiming that smell can give them an instant justification to search. They know most people will panic and confess or consent. Another trick is the pretext stop. That broken tag light is not the real reason. The officer saw you leave a house they have been watching and followed you until you committed any minor traffic violation, just to get a window into your world. And the third trick is the canine stall. The officer finishes writing the warning for the tag light, hands you back your license, and then says, "Now just wait here a minute while I call for a dog." The Supreme Court in Rodriguez v. United States already said they cannot prolong a traffic stop beyond the time it takes. They handle the reason for the stop just to wait for a drug dog, unless they already have independent, reasonable suspicion. But they still try it every day because they know you might not object. And here is the cruelest trick: lying about a warrant. An officer may pound on your door and say, in United States v. D. Ray, a federal appeals court dealt with an officer who fabricated that a drug dog had alerted, and the court made it clear that manufactured probable cause is unconstitutional. But that ruling does not protect you in the moment, and you have to know what to do right then when your knees feel weak. So here is your step-by-step playbook for a traffic stop. Number 1, the moment you pull over, turn on your interior lights if it is dark. Roll down your window just enough to speak and place both hands on the steering wheel. Do not reach for anything. Do not fumble for your license until the officer asks. When he asks if you know why you were stopped, "No, officer, you are not admitting anything." You mind? If I have a look inside, your exact script is, "I do not consent to a search." Say it calmly, clearly, and do not add explanations. You are not being rude, you are exercising your constitutional right. Step number 3 is the most powerful. Question you can ask at any encounter. Am I free to go, or am I being detained? To make a legal choice, if you are free to go, you drive away slowly and safely. If he says you are detained, he must have reasonable suspicion of a crime. The moment he says you are detained, you move to step number 4. You say, I am invoking my right to remain silent, and I want to speak with a lawyer. You have now put a solid legal wall between you and the fishing expedition. And in states like Texas, if you are lawfully detained, you may be required to provide your name, date of birth, and address under the Stop and Identify statute. But you still do not have to answer any other questions. The rule is simple. Identify if required, then shut the door. And keep it shut. But what if, instead of pulling you over, an officer appears at your front door? Hi, we're with the police department. Yeah.
Hey, we got a call about some noise.
Just wondering if we could talk for a second. Do you mind if we step in and talk? Here's the reality. They are not there for a noise complaint. They want to get a foot inside your door because once they are in, anything in plain view can be used against you. The Supreme Court addressed a version of this in Florida v. Jardines. The court held that bringing a drug-sniffing dog onto your porch to investigate the inside of your home is a search that needs a warrant. The lesson is that the curtilage, the area immediately around your home, is protected. You do not have to open the door. Crack it just wide enough to speak. But keep the chain lock on. Your phrase is, I do not consent to any searches. Please leave. If they claim they have a warrant, you ask them to slide it under the door or hold it up to a window. Read it. Make sure the address is yours, make sure it is signed by a judge, and check the scope of what they're allowed to search. If they cannot produce a valid warrant, you repeat, I do not consent. Please leave, and you step back and lock the door.
Sir, can I have a moment of your time?
Yes, officer, what seems to be the matter? Now let's switch to the street. Sir, can I speak with you for a moment? Certainly, officer. He says, hey, can I talk to you for a second? You are not detained yet. This is a consensual encounter. You can ask right away, am I free to go? If the officer says yes, you can politely say, have a nice day, and walk away. That is not resisting, and that is the law. If he says no, you are being detained, and that triggers. The exact same sequence. You invoke your right to remain silent, you say you want a lawyer, and you stop talking. In some states, like Florida, courts have been very deferential to police in treating a simple approach as consensual. So the burden is on you to clarify your status immediately. In states like Maryland and Colorado, however, courts have tightened the leash. For example, the Maryland Court of Appeals has ruled that the smell of marijuana alone, without other evidence, no longer gives police automatic probable cause to search a car because possession of a small amount is decriminalized. Colorado's courts have moved similarly. Ohio's Supreme Court has also reinforced that prolonging a stop for a dog sniff without separate reasonable suspicion violates the state constitution. Yet in Texas and Florida, the courts often give officers much more latitude. And the odor claim is still treated as a near-automatic key to your trunk. If you live or drive in Texas or Florida, you need to be especially vigilant because in those states, the legal environment is simply more dangerous for your rights, is being ignored entirely by one side. When you read about a traffic stop that escalated or a knock and talk that went wrong, so you can try it for yourself. It is a straightforward way to make sure that when you are learning about your rights, you are not just swallowing someone else's talking points. So let me pull this together. The rules that will keep you safe in any encounter are simple, but they require you to be disciplined even when your nerves are screaming. Rule 1, you never consent to a search. Ever. Not in your car, not in your home, not on your person. Rule 2, always ask if you. Are you free to go or are you being detained? That question alone can stop a casual conversation from turning into a nightmare. Rule 3, if you are detained, invoke your right to remain silent and ask for a lawyer immediately, and then, this is the hard part, actually stay calm. Not a single word. Remember, the only phrase that protects you is the one you do not say. Police lie about warrants, they manufacture odors, and they stretch stops. But you do not have to help them. You know the playbook now. Watch this next video where I break down exactly what to do at a DUI checkpoint, because that is a whole different battlefield.